Let's all stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, the next item is approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I have a request this evening. I move that we take the proclamation in honor of, in the memory of Mrs. Fannie P. Green and move that from item number 9 to item number 6, right after the consent agenda, as this is such a prestigious honor.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, Barnett Taylor.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion is carried. We'll move that item to number 6 on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now we have conflict of interest statements.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the rules of procedures adopted by this board in section 153A-44 of the North Carolina General Statute, it is the duty of every board member present to vote on all matters coming before this board, unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or determined by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter. No conflict, Mr. Chairman.
No conflict. No conflict.
No conflict, Barnett Taylor.
No conflict. Okay, the next item is the consent agenda. These are items we heard last time to vote on this time. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, Barnett Taylor.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion is carried. We'll now move to our proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask all commissioners to stand at this time. Thank you. Northampton County Board of Commissioners proclamation in honor and memory of Fannie P. Green. Whereas the citizens of Northampton lost a dedicated public servant with the death of Fannie P. Green on September the 3rd, 2025. Whereas born in Valentines, Virginia on August 22nd, 1949, to the late Robert and Beatrice Palmer, Mrs. Green graduated from Gumberry High School and thereafter pursued her post-secondary education at Virginia State University and Central Michigan University. Whereas Ms. Green was a career employee of the state of North Carolina, proudly serving in Northampton County as its first female African-American probation and parole officer, while also operating Project LIFT, Learn, Ingenuity, Fortitude, and Triumph, an organization she founded to provide education and support services for at-risk female youth. Whereas upon Ms. Green's retirement, her call to public service continued as a town administrator for Gettysburg and her election to the Northampton County Board of Commissioners from 2002 to 2017, including several years in which she served as the chair of the board here in Northampton County. And whereas Mrs. Green was universally respected by her fellow board members and the employees and citizens of Northampton County for her leadership and tireless work ethic on behalf of the county. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Northampton County Board of Commissioners respectfully honors the life and memory of Fannie P. Green and expresses sincere sympathy and condolences to her family during this time of her great personal loss. Be it therefore proclaimed that the board express on behalf of the citizens of Northampton County deep appreciation, gratitude for the gifts of time, ability, and commitment given by Fannie P. Green in representing the interests of Northampton County on the Board of Commissioners this day, the 15th day of September 2025. Mr. Chairman, I've read the proclamation of Fannie P. Green, it is with great honor that we honor her life and legacy here in Northampton County.
So can we have a motion to approve the proclamation?
Yes, sir. And after that, I would like a member of the family to speak if that's permissible.
Okay,
Mr.
all
Chairman.
right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, giving honor to God, who is the strength of my life and the strength of our family during this time. My name is Lisa Mayo, and I'm the daughter of Fannie P. Green. We, the family of Fannie P. Green, would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Northampton County Board of Commissioners and the entire county for their beautiful proclamation in her honor. Your thoughtfulness, kindness, and recognition of her life and legacy are deeply appreciated. This meaningful gesture has brought comfort to our heart, and it also serves as a reminder of her lasting impression and impact in this county and community. Thank you so much from Fannie P. Green family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the proclamation in honor and memory of Fannie P. Green.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion is carried. The proclamation is approved and accepted. Okay, the next item is citizen comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, citizens, if you've signed up to speak, when your name is called, please approach the podium. Your comments will be limited to 5 minutes maximum. The chair will cut off all speakers exceeding their allotted time. If you have any questions of the board, you will receive a response from the board or county staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. Pursuant to North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for public commentary on county business. This is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Commissioners, I have three citizens who signed up to speak. The first, Mr. Earl Daniels.
Is my speaker on? I think it is. Thank you. Subject of my comments tonight are reflections. I don't have to tell you that I'm very passionate about the direction our county is heading. I can see our county's unlimited potential under the right leadership. But that's not happening today, nor is it happening tomorrow without leadership that has a vested interest in the county. Since October of 2024, I've appeared before this board at every meeting except for the month of June, and I've visited some commissioners at their offices. My purpose as a native citizen of the county and a product of the county school system has been to express my concerns and those expressed to me by my fellow citizens. I have discussed what I believe to be illegal hiring and firing practices imposed upon the county employees, county policy versus state law. I maintain state law has precedent over county policy, but to no avail. I have requested access in accordance with state law to public information in the possession of the custodian of public records, but denied access citing confidentiality. I have tried to get the board to understand the gravity of repeat audit findings citing material weaknesses which jeopardize the financial integrity of our county. The best time to correct an audit finding is in the presence of the auditor or during budget formulation. This was not done, as was evident by amendments presented by the finance officer after 2 months of approval of the 2025 budget. I have given the board hard evidence of violation of employment contract violations, and attempts were made to circumvent the violations with fraudulent amendments. 3 years after the violation, the board voted to approve one of the violations and rewarded the second with a $700 a month travel allowance for illegal use of the automobile that was used in excess of 2 years without authority. In the last month, I have watched the vice chair publicly request that at the next regular meeting, to see evidence that all audit deficiencies had been corrected and their status. He was assured in public that would be done. That was not done, and the vice chair was not shown the courtesy of being notified his request would not be honored. When asked why it was not presented, the response received was, quote, "too busy," end of quote. Since when does an employee have the right to openly disregard a request from his boss? The chair, in defense of the employee, attempted to dismiss the request by asking when the vice wanted to see the information. The vice responded, quote, "today," end of quote. I watched two commissioners who saw through the smoke and mirrors called for the dismissal of the manager. Of the three negative votes, only one asked for more clarification. Having attended most of the meetings, I believe clarification has been self-evident. Now, to one of the most troubling things I believe this board has done or is consider selling off portions of county property at 16% of its assessed value. The board has put up to the highest bidder via 9 resolutions, the sale of 9 parcels of county property with a tax assessment of $89,374 to Baseline Properties LLC in the amount of $14,650 or 16.1% of the property's access value. I would like to know the motive for the Baseline's interest. I don't know if the sale of this properties were ever made known to the public, but now the public can only purchase those properties with a 5% upset bid. Of special note, Baseline Properties LLC is not vetted company by the state of North Carolina, nor has it been accredited by the North Carolina Better Business Bureau. Sole contact is Raymond Mabry of Zebulon, North Carolina. There are offices in Zebulon and Raleigh, neither of which have organizational structure with a governing board. Again, what is the motive for Baseline wanting these properties, and what information was provided to the general public in advance of Baseline's bid?
20 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Alyssa Perry.
Hello. My name is Elisa Perry, and I came here tonight to make sure you received the context of termination for Jewel Renee Hoggard that was sent to your email yesterday. I asked you to read it and follow up with her as soon as possible. There are details in there that she is not sure that you received or was aware of. She was recruited to come and work here in HR here at Northampton County, leaving a very stable job. The termination has left a stain on an otherwise impeccable career of 30 years. She has always been a very highly respected member of Human Resources Department.
Excuse me, the attorney has informed me this is a personnel matter and should not be discussed in the open session.
How will she get a response?
We will respond.
Okay,
we will
because
be
nobody
discussing that.
responded to the first one.
We will be discussing that in closed session.
I appreciate that, and I'm sorry if I was speaking out of turn. It was not my intention to do anything that I wasn't supposed to do. It's just, out of concern.
Right.
So I appreciate if y'all will seriously take this matter into consideration. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Sylvia Vincent.
Good evening, Northampton County Commissioners, County Manager, and others in attendance here tonight. I am hoping that the ordinance to govern solar farms is on its way to completion. It's been quite a while. Sun Energy One is only concerned about the work that they are trying to get done, while in the meantime, we must deal with the smoke and the noise. The air monitors around my neighborhood constantly show very high amounts of smoke density that are very dangerous to the health of citizens around. Readings frequently exceed 200 during both daytime and nighttime hours, when 154 and up poses a great threat. Numbers that we have consistently made you aware of. You were told by them that they would burn 1 week out of the month. That hasn't happened yet. So you see, they are not concerned about the Northampton County residents. Another concern I have is, does the county have a policy that prohibits realtors from keeping a for sale sign on property that has already been sold? My reason for asking this is there is a piece of property on Cherry Tree Road. The road where Sun Energy has already destroyed the landscape and filling their pockets at the same time. That's listed as a 544-acre tract that was sold in January 2025, but the sign is still up saying for sale. We are hearing rumors of another commercialized project on Cherry Tree Road. The community should be informed about ongoing projects to ensure the legality of it. We request that proper procedures be followed. The amended ordinance should consider the issue of oversaturation related to these solar farms, the chicken farms, the hog farms, and any other type of industry that's going to cause harm to the residents. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is the NHC financial statement fiscal year ending 2024.
Mr. Chairman, can we pause to get a picture with the family before they leave?
Okay, all right, yes.
Mr. Green, can we pause to get a picture with the family before you all leave? We can do that now? If that's permissible, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
that'd be fine.
We'll get a framed copy to the family. And on behalf of the proclamation, we're going to get a large copy to commit to the Green family and a framed copy to honor the life and legacy of this family. Just want to make that clear.
Look this way. 1, 2, 3, and hold it, hold it.
One more time. One, two, three. Thank you. Yeah.
So. Okay, now we're ready for the financial statement fiscal year ending 2024. Okay. We're ready for. Yes, that's a budget ordinance. Yeah, we need to get the right thing up. Yeah, we need to get the right thing up on this.
I'm Jeff Best. I began my accounting career with a North Carolina regional firm. After that, I was with a U.S. regional firm. I have 30-plus years of accounting experience. I've audited counties, towns, hospitals, and a regional library. I'm here today to explain the situation in which the county was able to complete 3 years of audit, including 6/30/22, 6/30/23, and 6/30/24, and basically a 12-month period. I've never seen this happen in my accounting career, this 30-plus years. If these audits are not completed, they will affect grant funding, and also the ability to borrow money. The last paragraph of the county's response to the Local Government Commission's financial performance indicator reads, during the past year, Northampton County has experienced turnover in the finance department, specifically with the financial director. The county has experienced difficulty in hiring a qualified individual with appropriate experience. The finance department staff has been adequately trained and are not appropriately qualified in their duties in the finance office. Me working with the county to help get these audits out, I would agree with that finding. The county hired Julian Phillips as a manager in March of '22. He came into this difficult situation, as described above. When he was hired, the finance department was not operating as it should. He was the driving force of getting these 3 audits completed, 6/30/22, 6/30/23, and 6/30/24. And basically a 12-month period. And like I said, in my 30 years of experience, I've never seen that done before. He oversaw the process of providing the auditor with information to complete the audit. There was a lot of requirements to substantiate account balances, reconciliation of accounts, and general ledger. This is a tremendous job. So he stepped in, he acted as the finance officer and the county manager in this process. To recap the process, the county hired a county manager in March of '22. The county manager assumed the role of both the county manager and the finance officer. He was the driving force of getting the audits completed in a 12-month period. Grant funding and the ability to borrow money would be effective in these audits if they had not been completed. Thank you for your time. Does anyone have any questions?
Absolutely, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. You are, sir, tell me your name again.
My name is Jeff Best. The county hired me to assist with completing these audits.
You know who I knew who you were, Mr. Best.
Yes, ma'am.
You know how I knew who you were?
How was that?
When I received a letter, like the rest of the commissioners did, on September the 5th, we all got the letter that we were on the unit assistance list from the state. And I began to research that. I don't think our citizens are aware of that. We are on the unit assistance list, citizens. And that means that we're in financial trouble. And that's what that means. And I began to research that, meaning what can our county do and what can our commissioners do to get us out of this? So I began to research it, and your name came up as one of the coaches for the local government commission. You and Miss Nancy Roundtree, am I correct?
I don't know about that.
Okay, but I know you. I saw your name because I began to do a little list. Because, sir, I don't have anything to do on Saturday night, so all I got to do is get in bed with my books and read. So your name came up, and I saw your name. So when you got up and I saw your name, I said, that name looked familiar to me. So that's where I saw your name.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is my question. My question is something. How did you get here? Because I didn't know I didn't know you were coming. I would have loved for all of us to have greeted you because I didn't know you were coming. I wasn't informed because I would have loved to have come over to Mr. Phillips' office and greeted you personally
That would have been very nice.
myself, along with the other commissioners had we known you were coming.
Okay. All right.
Because we did not know you were coming, Mr. Best.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you were coming.
One thing for everyone to be aware too, we have been on the unit assist list since 2015. This is not a recent occurrence.
We've been on the unit assistance list, everybody, for 10 years. So when you said that, I said, that's that Mr. Best that I've been spending my Saturday nights with. But we didn't know, sir, you were coming.
I'm sorry, I did not know.
No one notified us, not even Mr. Phillips, told this board you were coming. And I tell you, like my mama, I sure don't like to be blindsided when I'm not told companies come into my house.
All right. Well, let's proceed on. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Best?
No questions. I just appreciate the background and the context of, how we got to, like where we are and the corrective actions that we're taking. And I appreciate Chair Martin sharing just how long we've been on that list so that the citizens doesn't think that this is something that just happened, but that we've been on the unit assistance list since 2015. So again, just wanted to put more transparency forth. I did hear one of our citizens ask how we can go about getting off the unit assistance list, and maybe that's something that we can cover in one of the upcoming meetings to talk about what we can do to get off of it or steps we're doing it. So, perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. That was just already on it. So, I know Ms. Joyner had that question. So, thank you for that. Just transparency and us just sharing as much information as possible is what we're all about, and we appreciate the questions and the comments. And thank you, Mr. Best, for your information.
Mm-hmm.
Again, how difficult it is to complete those audits that quickly. And,
But sir, we sure would have liked to know you were coming, because we got to operate in transparency.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If we going down in the ship, we need to know we're going down in the ship.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I do understand what you said.
we were all told we were on the unit assistance list. And and somebody knowing you were coming, and this board not knowing you were coming, come on, Mr. Best.
It's part of the presentation. Yeah. It's part of the presentation about the findings. Yes. All right. Anything else? All right. If not, thank you, and
Thank
we'll
you.
proceed on with our discussion. Okay, Leslie, are you going to do your rest of your presentation at the Finance Department matters? Okay, all right, so we'll proceed on with the Davenport Public Finance Draft Resolution for Phase 6 interim financing.
Good evening. My name's Ted Cole. I'm with Davenport and Company. We serve as financial advisor to the county, and this evening want to talk about a potential borrowing for what we call interim financing or a construction loan for Phase 6 utility improvements in anticipation of receiving long-term funding from USDA that the county has been approved for. I believe a hard copy of the presentation went around. It looks like maybe they're pulling up an electronic version as well. Does everybody have this, or you all board members have this in front of you? Okay, great. There are page numbers in the bottom right corner, and more than happy to entertain questions as we go. This first part is just informational and background for you all. There is a resolution for y'all's consideration this evening. We'll get to that in a moment. But again, as the Phase 6 water project or utility project has been evolving, the county has secured, I'm going to round up slightly, $6.5 million of long-term funding from the federal government through the USDA program. The federal government makes that money available when the construction of the project is complete. So at the beginning of the project, with the USDA commitment, what happens is the local government, in this case the county, goes out and solicits funding proposals for a construction loan. Get the money at the beginning of construction. You've got the money to spend on the project as invoices come in. And then at the end of the project, the USDA money is available, and that's what you use to pay off this interim loan or this construction loan. So we put together a request for proposal, sent it out to a number of banks. We do these quite regularly. The amount on the third bullet was $6,418,000, a very specific number. I'm talking off the hard copy here. I'm not off of that on the slide right at this point. $6,418,000, that is the sum of what the USDA has committed for this project. We call it a BAN, a bond anticipation note, or a construction loan. Those are used interchangeably. We received 3 proposals listed alphabetically: PNC Bank, Southern Bank, and United Community Bank. If you go to page 3, you will see the key details of their proposals. This project is expected to be completed around September of 2026. That's an expected completion date that may well change depending on schedule and rain delays or whatever other events might occur, but call it September of 26. So roughly a year from now. We purposely, with this interim funding or this note, we extended the final maturity of that to March of 27, right? Because we don't want that interim note to come due too early, just in case there are delays in construction, because again, USDA doesn't make their money available until construction's completed and they've reviewed. So we purposely asked the banks to provide funding with a final maturity of March of 27, with the ability to prepay it without any penalty. So if the project stays on track or we finish before March of 27, we can pay off the interim note with the USDA money and move on. As you're looking at page 3, we've got PNC first, United Community in the middle, Southern Bank at the bottom. The final maturity, and I'm going to go from left to right, final maturity is 3/1 of 27 for all of them. That's what we requested. Call features under column C, that is your ability to prepay the loan. And what we want is complete flexibility to prepay it without penalty, again, for the reasons I just discussed, in case you finish this before final maturity. And you'll notice under PNC, it says subject to make whole call. Essentially what that says is you can prepay it, but the bank is going to be made whole on the interest they would have earned if it went to final maturity. So it does allow for the prepayment, but it could potentially present to you all an additional payment depending on when you prepay it, what the interest rate environment is, and you're going to see we're not recommending that. However, they did provide the lowest rate, and you'll see that under column E, a 3.82%. The rate is locked as long as we close by October 17th, and I'm going to talk about the schedule in a moment. And you can see what the monthly payment would be. It's about $20,400 under column F. Under column G, it's the total interest that would be paid through September of 26. Remember, that's our expected completion date. That's about $213,000. And if it went all the way out to the final maturity of March of 27, it'd be about $336,000 of interest. United Community, same setup. However, under column C, they've allowed for prepayment at any time without penalty. That's really the flexibility we're looking for, because you might need to prepay this in October of 26, December of 26, right? January, February of 27, and you want that ability without any possible penalty. Their term sheet and rate are locked through October 17th. Their rate is a 4.07, and you can see what the monthly and total payments are depending on when the payoff might occur, just for perspective. About $21,700. So about $1,300 more a month in that United Community Bank proposal. And then finally, Southern Bank, they also gave us the ability to prepay without penalty, which is great. They gave us two rates depending on whether we carry a certain designation. You all, I think if you went with Southern, you would be applicable under the 4.35%, not the 450, but it's the highest of all three banks. Okay? Any questions on this? I know there's a lot of numbers, and I want to make sure you have an opportunity to digest sort of the decision points that we're going to be talking through. Any questions right now? Okay. Page 4, part of the Local Government Commission who oversees this type of debt issuance, they have to approve it, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Among other things, they want to have a level of comfort that the county has the ability to repay this debt. And in this case, it would be from water and sewer revenues, right? This isn't a general obligation of the county. It's not a tax-supported debt obligation. It's an obligation that would be supported by the water and sewer revenues. And what we've done is we've set up a table primarily for the Local Government Commission's purposes, but obviously it's relevant to you all. And across the top, you see we have audited financials for the Water and Sewer Fund for fiscal years 22, 23, and 24. We have estimated numbers for fiscal 25. The 26 column is based on your budget that's been recently adopted. And then we have 5 years of projections off of the 26 budget. And you can see as you look at line 2 or even line 4, really line 2 I think is appropriate, we have purposely not grown the revenues of the Water and Sewer Fund. We tried to set this up in a conservative way, saying if we don't have any revenue growth in the Water and Sewer Fund, but we have operating expense growth of 3% is what we've assumed. I'd like to think that's a very conservative way to model this, right? Your expectation would be if expenses are growing, that your revenues are growing. You've got the ability to control revenues to some extent, whether it's through new customer revenue or rate adjustments. But we purposely set it up where revenues are held flat, operating expenses are grown, again, in this case at 3% a year, and we are tracking primarily line 18, which is measuring your debt service coverage. That is this system, Water and Sewer Fund, no general fund support, this system's ability to cover the debt from its own revenues. And you'll see on line 18, all of those are over 1 times. That is, for every dollar of debt service that we're projecting, you all over the next 5 years, with no revenue growth and with expense growth, we would expect you to have at least $1.14 as a minimum to pay every dollar of debt service. So that's an important metric for the Local Government Commission, saying, okay, we understand that you've done the projections. We agree that you've done those in a conservative fashion, and we're demonstrating under those assumptions that the current revenues of the Water and Sewer Fund can cover the debt we're about to take on at least one times without any general fund support. So our hope and expectation is that this would be well received by the Local Government Commission. It's been provided. We haven't had any questions at this point. And this is not unlike how we set these up for other clients. So the purpose of this page is to try to give a level of comfort that the Water Sewer Fund is in a position to take on this new debt and be able to repay that debt without necessarily having to raise revenues beyond what you've budgeted in the current year. Okay? If we go to page 5, this is our recommendation. Based upon the proposals, the analysis, the conversations we've had with staff and council, we're recommending that you all consider moving forward with United Community Bank at their rate of 4.07, which is fixed as long as we close by October 17th, and it's fixed all the way out to that March of 27 date, but we have the ability to prepay it without penalty if we need to or want to. Not necessarily the lowest rate, absolutely, but the lowest rate that provided us that prepayment flexibility without the potential for an additional payment like PNC had. The schedule at the bottom of this page is for you all to receive this presentation tonight. As I said, there is a resolution. We call it a findings resolution for you to consider. This would be the first of 2 resolutions that would need to be adopted to move forward with this financing. So as part of tonight's presentation, we would look for some guidance on do we want to move forward with one of these 3 banks? Again, our recommendation is United Community. And if you do want to move forward, to give consideration to adopting the findings resolution. If that were to happen tonight, we would come back to your October 6th meeting. That would be the second and final approval necessary for this type of financing. It's called a final resolution. October 7th would be the Local Government Commission. That is the meeting that we have targeted to be on their agenda for consideration of their approval of this debt. The application has been submitted. We're working our way with LGC staff to make sure everything's where it should be. And if all of that were to happen, we would be in a position to close by October 17th, at which point the money would be in an account dedicated to the county, earning interest and available as you all start the project and have invoices to pay. If you're not in a position or don't desire to consider the resolution this evening, that doesn't necessarily take us off of this calendar, but we would need to have some consideration of that findings resolution relatively quickly. The Local Government Commission isn't going to want that first action, which is on the calendar for this evening, to be delayed too much longer. Otherwise, we would be in a position where we would have to potentially move to the November LGC approval, and we'd have to make sure the banks are willing to hold their rates or quote us a new rate. So ideally, you would be able to consider the resolution this evening, but certainly understand if you're not prepared, we would just need or suggest that there be a special called meeting relatively quickly rather than waiting for the October 6th meeting. That will definitely take us off this schedule. Any questions?
I do have a question. I noticed that you said, thank you for the recommendation and thank you for your presentation. When you look at PNC Bank and you said subject to make whole, and so when you say subject to make whole, so is that firm that if we prepay PNC Bank, that we would have an additional payment? Or is that negotiable? That is my question.
It's not firm, and it's not negotiable in the sense of, here's a number, can we agree to split the difference?
I'm clear.
That's not That's not an option when these things occur. And we did ask them to reconsider that in their proposal, and they said that they wouldn't.
Okay,
The dynamic with that make-whole payment is, it is a calculation that the bank will do at the time of the prepayment. So let's just say hypothetically, that's December of '26, right? We didn't quite finish in September, we had needed a few more months, and we want to prepay this loan in December of '26.
yes,
The bank will consider, okay, how much are you prepaying? What is the interest rate at that time, right, for a loan like this? And if the interest rate at that time is lower than the rate on your loan, you're likely to have a make-whole call, because they're going to get your money and they have to lend it back out. And if they're lending it out at a lower rate, they want to be made whole on the difference. If interest rates are higher at that time, there may not be a payment. But our experience with these has been, if you're in that type of a loan, when you submit the notification of prepayment, hey, we want to prepay this on December 1, they will do their calculation and send you a payoff letter, and it may include a make-whole payment, depending on that calculation, and that's the payment. There's no negotiating at that point.
Well,
So
you-
it's not that you absolutely will have a make-whole payment, but the language is in there where they reserve the right to do that calculation and include that in your payoff.
well, I think you made it clear to me when you said the loan rate at that time.
Correct.
I'm clear. It's no difference if I call Capital One right now and say I want to pay my credit card off, right? I'm paying off a balance, but the interest accrues daily.
That's right.
That's right. So when you said the interest rate at that time, I'm totally clear on what you're saying now.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And your name again, sir?
Ted Cole, C-O-L-E.
Mr. Cole. My concern is, and you're with the LG Davenport.
I'm with a company called Davenport.
You're
correct.
with the, okay. This is my concern. Here you're talking to us about a loan, and we got a budget violation with some water, Phase 6 water project fund. Maybe it's been fixed, maybe, after Ms. Edwards shares with her audit, corrections. Maybe within that, it will show that it has been fixed. But here we are, just getting by with a violation, because we have operated, what was the violation? Several funds did not have a budget, but reported revenue. We got a budget violation dealing with water, and now you're talking to us, to me, a county that's already in financial trouble, about a loan.
We are not in financial trouble, Melvetta.
We're not.
No,
But why are we on the assistance list, Vice Chairman?
because of audit issues that we took in more money than we spent last year,
Uh-huh,
and we have a fund balance.
uh-huh,
We're not, Bertie County is in trouble.
uh-huh.
I've been reading about that.
But we still, I beg to differ, because we still, we still got the letter that says we own the unit, unit assistance list. And that still says we are not financially where we need to be, Vice Chairman. Does that,
That's not exactly what it says.
well, what does it exactly say, Vice Chair? Let him answer, then you can chime in. What does it say? Because maybe
It
what is,
can mean you have financial troubles. It can also mean you had audit irregularities. But it's just like if you're balancing your own checkbook, you might have messed something up and it didn't add up right, but that doesn't mean you still don't have plenty of money in the bank. You just made a mistake on your paperwork, sort of like. No. We are financially sound, but we're on the unit assist list because of irregularities on the audit.
Okay.
Right.
So we on the unit because our audit did not look good.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, but we still got plenty money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Financially, Commissioner Blunt, we're in good shape. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
we are.
okay. We in good shape, but there are times when they go to pay our credit cards and they can't find the money to pay our credit cards. Okay, we in good shape. Got it.
We are fine.
We doing fine. Okay,
But that's a different discussion right now. We're trying to discuss this.
okay, okay. Okay.
Okay. Continue on, sir.
That's all I had unless there's additional questions.
Okay.
And the recommendation, just so I can be clear, is United Community Bank. Is that correct, sir? At the 4.07.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Could I get a motion to approve, let me see what the proper term was, the preliminary findings resolution? If not, we would have to do a special call session perhaps next week, or it sets everything back. It has to be done before the October 6th meeting.
This is the last time we meet for the month.
Right, this last time we meet this month. Our next meeting would be October 6th without a special call meeting. Do we have a motion for approval of this preliminary resolution? We can choose to have a special call meeting and revisit it next week. That's up to the board. What is the wishes of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I think the gentleman did a phenomenal job of explaining. I just think that we as a body might have time, need a little more time to digest.
That's fine.
And hearing that, I mean, I'm just speaking, and I do appreciate the presentation. I thoroughly get it. There's a lot to digest when you're talking about, yes, the amount of funding we're speaking of. Great presentation, but personally, I think we just need a little more time to digest as a board, and so we can make the best decision.
I'm in agreement.
Okay. Could we have a motion then to revisit this at a special call meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I move we table the component of the resolution for the Phase 6 interim financing until we have a special call meeting so that we as a commission board may fully digest what we're about to enter into.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. If anyone would like any additional information, please let the county manager know between now and our next called meeting so that we can get whatever everyone may need to see. All right, let's go to the next item, which is the opioid resolution revision.
Good evening again, Commissioners. You have in front of you a resolution by the County of Northampton County to direct the expenditure of opioid settlement funds. This is just a revision of the previous approved resolution. We first started this resolution, it was first adopted on November 20th of 2023. Every year we look at the resolution, we have to make sure it matches the current funding by the state. The current funding by the state is $1,460,936.09. That increased $51,816.09 from the previous opioid settlement funds. The previous amount was $1,409,120. So what we're doing here is just increasing the amount of the total that we will receive through fiscal year 2039. And then we change the allocation for the 5 fundings that we have selected under Schedule A. And again, I read this out before, I'll read it again for those who don't know the different strategies that we have authorized. We have the collaborative strategic planning. We have early intervention. We have naloxone distribution. We have post-overdose response team. And then the final strategy is the syringe service program. Those are the 5 strategies that we have allocated just about even the $1,460,936.09. We have to update this resolution and post it in the state portal showing that we have received, accepted this funding going through 2039. We have to do this every year if the numbers change.
Does anyone have any questions for the county manager?
Mr. Phillips, out of that number, how much do we have available now in the county?
As of September 3rd, we have 408,867 available in the opioid funding.
Right, because the number that you gave extends to 2039, correct?
That 1.5
1.5,
million?
right, we don't
through
have that now.
2039.
2039, correct. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions? Not, could we get a motion to approve this resolution revision?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the opioid resolution revision as presented.
I'll second. Any discussion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. Any opposed? If not, motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item, solid waste permit renewal.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Northampton County currently has a LCID permit that is we operate off of DEQ requirements, and that is a land clearing inert debris permit. And we have a site located at our transfer station at the back, and the permit is up for renewal. So we did advertise for RFQs for engineering services on this, and we did receive 2. So we're recommending that Smith Gardner perform these necessary engineering services per DEQ standards so we can renew the permit. And it is a 5-year permit, operational permit.
Mr. Van, did they ever send you a new contract Remember, I was telling you the other one had Fanny Green's name.
Yes, ma'am, they did.
They did?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it in the book?
That's the one that you all approved tonight. This is a different permit.
So my understanding, this is required by the state.
Yes, sir.
We don't have any choice.
That's correct.
Can't operate without this permit. Yeah.
We have a choice, because I can vote or not vote for it.
Well,
Oh,
We'll be fined enough to cover whatever it costs.
Right.
if we want a landfill, we don't have a choice.
Right.
Put it that way.
Thank you for your due diligence, Mr. Van.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the permit renewal?
I move we approve the permit.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any op-
opposed?
Okay, all right. Motion carried 4-1. Thank you. All right, Veteran Services Software, Panoramic Software. Is anyone here? Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Our Veterans Officer is not here this week, so I did tell him that I would present this for him. If you will recall, several meetings back, he presented to this board a grant for $18,000. This is a contract for Panoramic Services software, and I will give you a brief explanation of what this software does. VetPro helps veterans track claims. It also allows claims to be made electronically. It allows veterans the opportunity to sign claims and get paperwork electronically. And it's designed also specifically for veteran services across the state. The total amount of the contract is $1,535, and that is for a 3-year term. And this is being paid for by that grant that he received for $18,000. Also, too, he is asking for it to be approved or a decision to be made tonight because he has until the end of August, I'm sorry, the end of September to spend his grant money.
Okay, all right. Does anyone have any questions?
How much was the grant money again?
It was, and that is actually on the budget amendment tonight to be added into the budget, $18,288.
All right. That's a relatively small price for a 3-year
Yeah.
software contract, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I get a motion to approve this software?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the Veteran Services Panoramic Software to assist the veterans living in this county.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, Broadus Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay. Now, you up again. Finance Department matters.
The first item I have for you tonight is budget amendment number 2 for fiscal year 2026. Let me just display this on the screen for the citizens to see as well.
Yeah, it's toward the back. Okay.
The first item is for the Golden Leaf Grant. This was presented at a previous meeting and approved by Mr. Derek Bennett. This is to add those grant funds into the budget. It's for $85,320. The next item is, we received a donation. Our district is hosting the Register of Deeds conference, and they have received a $500 donation from Bayside Bistro to go towards that conference. So we are putting it in the budget so that they can send that money to North Carolina Register of Deeds Association. And then the last item is the Veterans Grant that we just discussed. The total amount of that grant is $18,288.98.
Anyone have any questions about this budget amendment? If not, could I get a motion to approve the budget amendment? Grant.
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the said budget amendment.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye.
Okay. Motion is carried. Budget amendment is approved.
Thank you. The next item I have is, we have what we call a lead service line project. And I have been in contact with DEQ, who is the state agency who is giving these funds to fund this project. One of the items that they needed, we have already done a resolution to start the project, which is, has already been presented before this board, but what they needed was a resolution as well for, to accept the funding.
I don't know if y'all remember that. This was last year, I believe, at least several months ago, the mandated lead inventory that we have to do. We voted to pursue that at that time. Now we need to have a resolution to accept the money.
And if you have any additional questions, our public works director is here as well, if you have any questions about the project.
If y'all remember this was the $1 million interest-free loan with, we only have to pay back $150,000.
Yes, sir.
This was discussed some time ago. Could I get a motion to approve this resolution? Can't recall if the two new commissioners were on here at the board at the time, but it's a federal mandate that we do this, and we can either spend our own money or accept this loan, which they forgive all but $150,000, and it's interest-free loan. So, it's a pretty good deal if you ask me, but.
Do we have a deadline on it, Vice Chair? Chairman Martin?
On when we accept the resolution?
Yes.
Is there a deadline?
It can be approved at the next meeting, that's fine.
Okay. Well, what is the wishes of the board? Do you want to make a motion to table it for next meeting or approve it tonight? That's our prerogative either way.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table this as well, to bring everybody up to speed so that we can all can be on the same page and consensus when we vote of something of this magnitude.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Okay, we'll table this to the next time. All right.
So the next item goes hand in hand with that. I will go ahead and present it, just so you have the information. After that resolution is completed, we also must do a capital project ordinance to add it into the budget. So once you approve the resolution,
Okay,
then we will also do the ordinance.
okay, all right. Okay, all right, what's next?
The next item I have is the monthly financial report.
Okay.
So this is quite a long report, so I will not read it line by line, but that information is there for you in detail. The first page is just a table of contents of what's included in the monthly financial report. And if you will go to page 1, that is the letter of transmittal. That just basically explains to you what method of accounting the county uses, and each exhibit in detail, which I'm going to explain the exhibits to you. So you go to the next page, page 2. This is the county's general fund revenues in Exhibit 1. As you can see, I have also given last year at this time as a comparative to see what revenues we're bringing in last year at this time as compared to this year at this time. Our expected, you want your revenues to be as close to 8% as you can at this time in the year, and you don't want your expenditures going over 8%. And as your months go by, your percentage increases. So as you can see, our current percentage of actuals to budget is 2.3%. That is about a $3,000 more in revenue than last year at this time, about 0.1% higher. So we are trending basically the same as we were last year at this time. On page 3, you will see Exhibit 2. And this is a detailed expenditure total for each department in the county. Again, our expected, we don't want to see any percentages go over 8%. This is also one of the things the LGC looks at when we do our biannual reports to the LGC. They look at these percentages to make sure we are not going over those expenditures. So I will point out, anytime there's an outlier in the percentages, for example, if you look about midway of the page, you'll see our bulk fuel and preventative maintenance. That is at 64%. And so what that is we have a bulk fuel tank here in the county. And so when we fill that tank up, it's an expense up front, but once the departments start using that gas, we charge it back to departments. So that account will sometimes look higher than it actually is because we will be charging those back to departments as they use that gas. And if you scroll to page 4, that's a continuation of Exhibit 2. And you can see all the departments are trending under the 8%. Our total expenditures are trending lower than this time at last year by $700,000, or 1.5% lower, which is a good thing. We want to see our expenses lower. Okay, if you go to page 5, we have Exhibit 3, which is Fund 61, our enterprise fund. Our revenues are currently over expenditures by $20,000. And our percentages are, again, are under 8%. Exhibit 4 is our Gettysburg Water and Sewer District. Our revenue is over expenditures by $1,016. And our solid waste fund in Exhibit 5, our revenues are over expenditures by $14,000. And because these are enterprise funds, they have to operate like a business. So you want to always see that you have more revenues than you have expenses. If you scroll to page 6, this is the county's outstanding long-term debt. So I have given you a comparative all the way back to 2022. And that is just the graph showing that. If you could scroll down a little bit. Thank you. You can see in 2022 what our total debt was, and it's broken out by enterprise funds and general fund. Each debt that we have outstanding, you can see a description of that there. This will be the same on every monthly financial report. This is just to show you what our outstanding debt is at our current time. I will tell you that our outstanding debt decreased from 2025 to 2026 by $2.5 million. And you can also see over on the right, our annual debt service payment, which are also included in the budget. And then also the retirement dates of those debts. And if you scroll to page 7, this is our operating cash and investment balances. We have a central depository account with Southern Bank, and our operating cash in that account is $3.6 million. And then we also have $30 million sitting in the North Carolina Capital Management Trust investment account. That is a government portfolio, so that is fully liquid. Whenever we need to transfer money into our regular checking to cover operating expenses, we can do that. You will see as September starts rolling closer, we'll start collecting ad valorem taxes. As our cash balances increase, we will be putting more into that government portfolio so that we can start, so we can receive as much interest as possible on county funds. And as soon as we start collecting ad valorem taxes, I will be reporting on the collections as well on this report. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, the next item I have is the presentation on the audit findings. I'm gonna wait for Corey to get that pulled up for you. Okay, so what I did for this presentation is I basically went through that audit. I pulled every audit finding, and I have it listed for you, and I'm going to tell you the cause and what we did to fix that finding. Yes, it's not working. Corey, can you go to the next slide, please? first finding is, I need to, I'm sorry. I can't do that. Okay. The first finding is for reconciliation of records. And the cause listed in the audit is availability of adequate number of personnel in the finance office and administration departments causing delays in reconciliation, and preparing the annual audit and preparation of the financial statements. Next. Bank reconciliations were not reconciled timely. Our balance sheet accounts were not reconciled timely. And the auditor had to make several adjustments to the accounts payable, balance sheet accounts to close out the books. Our corrective action, bank account reconciliations are current and complete up to July of 2025. The finance officer's procedures have been changed. So bank reconciliations have to be done by the end of no later than the last day of the following month. That gives us time to actually get the statement from the bank and gives us time to actually reconcile every single transaction that hits our general ledger. New forms have been implemented to show signature of the staff member that completed the reconciliation and the signature of the finance director to show that it has been reviewed and completed. Balance sheet accounts, specifically accounts payable, they are being reconciled. We have implemented a new procedure in the finance office for year-end accounts payable processes. The accounting specialist is a staff member who is responsible for keying those invoices, and she has been properly trained on identifying payables at year-end. When payables are keyed into the system, they must be journaled back to a prior year. So in order to track those better, we have started issuing those on a separate AP warrant, so they can be pulled specifically as AP warrants. Audit finding number 2 is a budget violation. Let's see. This is where the funded phase 6 the project fund was not budgeted. Next. The cause is Fund 63 for the Phase 6 water project fund was not budgeted. The corrective action, the project ordinance was entered into the system and the budget is now complete. Finding number 3. Several departments in the general fund, education, debt service, and transfers, expenditures exceeded appropriations, which means the budget was not included. Additionally, expenditures exceeded appropriations for the new courthouse project fund, the emergency telephone system fund, the water and sewer fund, the West Fraser wastewater grant fund, the water asset inventory and assessment grant, and the Phase 6 water project again. Next. The specific cause for this is that budget amendments were not completed. The following funds and departments were not properly budgeted. The general fund, education, debt service, and transfers have all currently been budgeted. Our courthouse project fund is budgeted as well. The emergency telephone system fund was budgeted. The water and sewer fund is currently budgeted. The West Fraser wastewater grant, this finding will not be removed until the 25-26 audit. This fund needs to be closed out in our audit, and in order to close out that fund, research will have to be done all the way back to 2021. That is how long this finding has been in our audit findings. So I have got to go back several years and figure out where those discrepancies are and make sure they are correct moving forward. Water asset inventory assessment grant, that is currently budgeted. And the Phase 6 water project fund has also been budgeted. Finding 4. This is a deficit fund balance. So as I spoke about previously, our fire district fund and our debt service fund were showing a deficit fund balance in the audit report. Next. So the fire district fund is carrying a deficit fund balance all the way back to 2019. Our debt service fund is carrying a deficit fund balance back to 2020. So I was able to go back and look at all of our audits, and you can see that this deficit fund balance has been carrying from year to year to year. It was just never corrected. It is going to take some time to go back and reconcile through those years to figure out where exactly it needs to be corrected. But I have identified how far back it goes. I've just got to sit down and reconcile each year. So we will have this removed on the 25-26 update. Finding number 5, this is the fidelity bond violation. General statute changed, I believe, in a year and a half ago. But on the next slide, you can see that that was corrected, and I have attached a copy of the bond that was where it was corrected. Finding number 6. As you recall, on Budget Amendment 38, we talked about doing, we added a budget for transfers. So anytime you transfer monies from the general fund to another separate fund, you have to actually budget for those transfers as well. So you can't just put it in your new fund that you have budgeted money coming in. You have to actually complete a transfer. And so you also have to have a budget set up for that transfer. Next. And you all approved Budget Amendment number 38, which showed our amendments for the transfers. Finding number 7. This is where we received grant funds, and according to the grant documentation, these grants had to be set up in a separate fund, separate and apart from the general fund. Next. Certain grant funds are required to be reported separately from the general fund. Uniform guidance requires them to be separately stated. The following grants were included within general fund: the Workforce Housing Grant Project, Phase 6, Detention Center Grant, Rich Square Flood Mitigation Grant, and the Museum Grant. Transfers from other funds to the general fund have been budgeted. The Workforce Housing Grant Project was created. That is now Fund 58. Phase 6 is Fund 63. Detention Center Grant is Fund 57. And our Rich Square Flood Mitigation Grant is Fund 59. And our Museum Grant is also Fund 59. So if they are not going to be set up as an actual project, if the grant is not large enough for a project fund, we can set those up in a separate grant fund. So anytime we have any grants that are required to be separately stated, they can go into the separate grant fund. So that is what Fund 59 now is. Finding number 8. Finding 8 through 12. Finding 8 through 12. 11, yes, thank you. I have our DSS director here as well, so if you have any questions specifically about the DSS findings, she can answer those more. I don't deal with these findings, but I will tell you what an auditor has told me in the past. It is very much a red flag if you do not have any findings for DSS. It's Medicaid. There's so many standards and guidelines they have to follow, and they have so many protocols our auditors do when they have to test those funds. So what we do want to look at, though, is to look at how many errors they found. So what I have done is I'm reporting to you how many errors were found in a previous year and how they have brought those errors down. So finding number 8 is the IVD cooperation with child support. In previous years, there have been 8 or more errors. These errors dropped down to 1. This shows increased internal controls in our DSS department. Finding 9 is inaccurate information entry. In the prior year, there were 11 errors found. These errors dropped down to 5. This also shows increased internal controls within the DSS department. Finding 10, inadequate requests for information. In previous years, there were 17 or more errors reported. These errors dropped down to 5. This also shows increased internal controls. Finding number 11. In the previous audit, 9 errors were reported. These errors dropped down to 2. Finding number 12. I also believe that I reported this to the board back in March, I believe. So any lottery funding, anytime our school system requests lottery funding from the state, we have to review those requests because the money is filtered through the county. So anytime they request funds, they have to request those funds to the state. So once those funds have been transferred to our core banking account through the North Carolina Treasurer, we have to ask for backup, review that backup, and make sure that what they are requesting is what they actually did before we transfer that money to their account. That was not being done previously, which is why we had this finding. The county is required to review those requests before dispersing funds. The finance office has implemented a new procedure. All requests for lottery fund wires from the school system are required to be submitted with backup documentation. The finance director then reviews each request and backup documentation to ensure that all requested funds are following state requirements on lottery funds used, and also verifies that expenditures match the requests that have gone to the state. And that addresses all of the findings. And we also have Alan Thompson here tonight, who is the partner of our audit firm. So if you have any questions, or if you would like to hear anything from him, he is here to answer any questions. The next item is we are indeed on the UAL list, the Unit Assist list. So I came tonight to kind of explain to you what that is, explain to the citizens what it is. The UAL list was developed by the Local Government Commission to assist in prioritizing the allocation of staff resources, developing guidance and resources for units, and engaging in enhanced physical monitoring. And just to give you some statistics, the last published UAL on the LGC's website was published in December of 2024. There are 14 counties on this UAL list, 127 municipalities, and 4 utility authorities. What units are placed on the UAL list? Units who have not submitted their audited financial statements within the 6-month time frame, and then also units with concerns related to the general fund, your water and sewer ratio, income, cash flow, and or internal controls. Once you are placed on the UAL list, city and county managers are required to complete a minimum of 6 clock hours of education, including physical management and requirements of Chapter 159 of the North Carolina General Statutes. Units must obtain LGC approval of financing contracts related to the lease, acquisition, or construction of capital assets with terms of at least 3 years and over $50,000. Units must also obtain LGC approval of financing contracts for the purchase, lease, or lease with the option to purchase of motor vehicles where the contract amount equals or exceeds $50,000. The LGC works closely with the unit on the UAL through its coach team. Each unit on the UAL is assigned a coach. Our coach with the LGC, her name is Natalie Roundtree. The coach helps to monitor the unit and to assist the unit in restoring physical health. In-person visits usually once per year or more if the coach deems necessary. We have actually a scheduled meeting on September 24th. Follow-up check-ins once per quarter, either by phone or email. The board is required to receive training for physical training for local government elected officials. Budget to actuals reports are submitted to the coach by the finance director at 6 months and at 9 months. And also, the draft budget ordinance must be submitted to the coach for review in mid-April. In the last year, the LGC has implemented a scorecard for each unit to help units see how areas of concern are measured. So as you can see, this is the scorecard that we received from Ms. Roundtree. And this is how we can measure our performance, basically. As you can see at the top, it has the years listed. There are 8 years listed. I don't know that 2022 is not on there. I don't know if that was just a typo on their part or not, but we have been on the UAL list since 2015. So the first group of things that are reviewed and scored are our general fund. And as you can see on this scorecard, if you go over the threshold, which is 15.1%, which is really hard for y'all to see, it's very small. That is, the score threshold is 15. So if you go over that score of 15, then you're automatically going to be put on the UAL list. As you can see, the key performance indicators for this, your 1-year fund balance available percentage is below 59.29. That we have a 0 there, so we didn't score any points there. That's not a concern for us. The use of fund balance for operations in the last 5 years, that is a 0. We have not done that. Fund balance available percentage, our 3-year trend, we did score a 2 for that. And then our total fund balance, as you can see, is 28.9 million. We got 0 points for that for being a concern. That is not a concern for us. So we did not go over the threshold for that category. For water and sewer, we had 0 points for that. The threshold is 14. Our category score was 0. So internal controls, which are our county's concerns. Late audits for the last 5 years. So just keep in mind that while our last year's audit was completed on time, and we are projecting for this year's audit to be completed on time, they look at the 5-year history. So we may not even come off next year. We are meeting with Natalie on the 24th, so I will ask some questions about the scoring to see if we can kind of get an estimate of what we think, where we might fall. But I just wanted to say, I mean, you can see the percentage drop down to 60% just from having 1 year completed on time. So I do expect that percentage to drop a lot lower when we complete 25's audit.
And not to interrupt, but I did send that out to each of the commissioners. If we can have at least 2 commissioners attend that meeting, if you all would like, so that you can talk with Natalie and get some more insight.
Reconciliation, not timely, that was audit finding number 1. They look at these for the last 3 years. So that is at 100% because that has been a finding for years. So our score there is 34. Records not timely for the last 3 years, that is also at 100% with a score of 21. Budget violations, which we just talked about, For the last 3 years, that is also at 100%. Our score is 21. Statutory violations, our score is at 13 for that. So our score category threshold was 45.52, and our score was 102. So our internal controls is the reason that we are on the UAL list. So I will be glad to answer any questions for you on those. As these findings drop off, these percentages and these scores will go down, and we will be asking more questions with Ms. Roundtree when she comes on the 24th.
Yes, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. We need to get these findings off of our audits. We gotta be consistent, our internal controls, we have updated procedures in the finance office. It's just gonna take some time to see these fall off because they are looking at a 3-year trend.
Yeah.
No, we're not 10 years behind. Yes, ma'am. So. How long would it take us to get off the list? I mean, I know you said you have to do whatever, but my thing is, how did it get to the point that we're on the list for 10 years? I would say not having adequate staff in the finance office and turnover, having people in and out. It takes time for a finance officer to learn accounting. So when you have someone in and out of here in a year, then you have another person in a year, and then you have another person, a lot of turnover, it's hard to get things straight. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Ms. Edwards, I'd like to know, you've had the opportunity to be there and work through this. How do you plan, what is your strategy? And what is your strategic plan for getting us to where we need to be? And how do you plan to share that plan with the Board of Commissioners in writing?
I can tell you what my strategic plan is and what I have done to date. And then I will also put it in writing for you.
Yes.
The very first thing I did when I got here is I sat down with the staff and train. Because we can make corrections all day long, but if your staff continue to make those errors, I actually sent 2 of my staff members to UNC Chapel Hill 2 weeks ago. We were short-staffed in the office, but I think it is very important that your staff are trained so that you're only as good as your weakest link. And if you don't have the proper staff in place, you cannot do the job. Also, succession planning and cross-training staff. I think it's very important that if one individual goes out on sick leave, you have someone that can fall into their shoes and do their role. That keeps you from, and also too, succession planning for your director, having someone in place who can step in and do that role. When you have turnover, it mitigates the issues if you have your staff trained. It is the most important thing. So after getting my staff trained, that is when we started digging in, delving into the things to get them fixed. We are still working, as you know, for things that need to be reconciled back several years. You know, we fixed what we could right away, but those things that we have to dig into are going to take some time. But we do have a plan to move forward and get these findings. Most of these findings are going to come off in the next year's audit. And we will talk with Ms. Roundtree about how the scoring takes place so that we can get a better understanding of how low our scores will drop next year.
I think with where we are on the list, it's very important that you not work in isolation and that you keep the board updated with where you are. I don't know if that means sending out emails to where you are or just an update. Because when you invite people in from like a consulting firm, and we don't know who it is and why they're here, those type of things would be good for us to know. You know, if you get some type of correspondence or something that we need to know, that would be great for us to know, because with what we're facing now together, we can't afford to work in you can't afford to work in isolation.
I agree.
And you gotta let us know. You can't do this by yourself. So I think it would be good for you to let us know who's coming, because I plan to be there when Nancy, what's her name, Roundtree, Metaltree, whoever she is. You know, I'm gonna be there,
Okay.
you know. So I think it's good to let the board know what's going on, keep us abreast.
One thing I'd like to make sure everybody understands, the board and the general public, because that internal controls category goes back 3 to 5 years, you can be perfect this year, and it's probably not going to improve your score enough to come off. Because it just averages back out.
Right.
I would like to also take note too, just, this report is just now coming out in September. This audit was submitted in December of 2024. So they are just now reporting to us this UAL list. So as you can see, this is how long it took for us to know that we were on the UAL list, because when you were notified is when Julian and I were notified as well.
One last question. As of right now, is our budget in Northampton County, is it budgeted? Do we have a balanced
Yes, ma'am.
budget?
Yes.
Any other questions for the board?
Just a comment, just appreciate the information that was shared, and also looking forward to working together with you. We can't, as commissioners, expect you to just bring us. We have to be at the table, involved, willing to assist in our realm as commissioners as well, because we do have a fiscal responsibility to make sure that we are staying within budget. So I appreciate you sharing the information, but I just want you to know that you have willing partnership from me in any capacity that I can assist as in my realm as commissioner, because again, we have to understand that it is our responsibility as well to be, keeping watch, paying close attention to detail, reading the emails, thoroughly when we get them and the information. We can't always just depend on, while we hold staff accountable with bringing us the information, we can't just always say, do this, do this. The strategic plan has to be our strategic plan, because it's a partnership of us working together. And so I just want to share that I appreciate the information that's being shared. Just a few pointers that I would just share from a technology standpoint, and Dr. Phillips, you and I can talk offline about it. It's just making sure that what we project up is big enough, not only for our citizens to see, but for presenters to see as well, because when you're presenting information, it's critical that you're able to see it as a presenter, and it's also extremely critical for citizens to be able to easily see that information and follow along. So I appreciate the steps that we're making, but that's something that we need to improve from a technology projection standpoint, so that everybody can easily see the information like we can see it on our screens here, wanting that same equity and access for the citizens. But again, I can't echo enough how much I appreciate you bringing the information and sharing the information with us, and us also understanding as commissioners our role and our responsibility with working together with the staff and making sure that we are, continuing to maintain good ground, and that things are not in a bad condition as far as the budget. So thank you.
I'd also like to thank you for your work. Everybody's doing a good job. It's taking a while. It's going to take a little more time, but I appreciate the board members, and I appreciate everybody giving you the opportunity to give us information that we would like to know, and thank you for doing that.
Anybody else? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is county manager and board comments.
I don't have a whole lot more to add for tonight. Just always appreciate everyone that comes out, shows your concern for the community, for the county, that you truly care, and always want to echo that we are listening. We want to do our best for this county. I don't expect anything less than the best that we can put forward. Just to go back a little bit in the past, I know people don't like to talk about the past, but I had the opportunity to be an interim finance officer, and when I first got in there, and I will never say that our staff is not good enough. I'll never say that. The folks that are in this office, they work. Now, the problem that you might have is that, and what I observed is they were doing things based on a cheat sheet, and people, they were told, do this, do that, do this. And it took a change in culture. The culture had to be changed from this is how we've always done it to no, let's do this right. Let's understand why you're doing what you're doing. This way, when you have a problem, you can fix it. Or you can go and communicate intelligently to your supervisor or your supervisor's supervisor about what's going on and what we need to do to fix the problem. And then the problem doesn't continue and go under the rug. The other thing that we stress is that make sure your practice and your policy match. Make sure your practice and policy match. This way you'll never have a problem. If what you're doing in practice matches your policy, you should be right on, because we put those policies in place because of the issues that we're having right now, internal controls. Sometimes people think I can do it a better way, but the better way has a issue of defeating our internal controls, and because you decided to do it a better way and you didn't seek any advice and just did it, we find out when we go through audits, when we do bank reconciliations, when things are not going right, and then you start to say, hey, my balance sheet account that don't look right. I know what it's supposed to look like, and that's not it. And if anyone has ever dealt in accounting, ever did any type of accounting work, it's one of the most difficult areas to rectify once you have a problem, especially if it's been going on for years. But there's a right way to do it, and it's just to take a write-off. I will never, ever, ever come to the commissioners and say, let's write this off. Let's get it the right way. Let's find out what caused that problem and fix it, and this way you can run smoothly going forward. And that's what we've been doing. When I met Leslie a couple months ago, I told her that, what she was going to be facing. She said she could take this challenge on and get these things fixed within a few months, and she's done that. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the presentation, because we didn't just put up, here's your findings and here's how we fixed it. I wanted folks to see how we fixed it, so you can have an understanding of how we do these things. If we do these things, I think we'll be fine. I think we're headed in the right direction. You have to get your audits done on time, and then you got to be consistent in your internal controls. The score sheet just came up. They just developed this last year, the LGC, and I think Natalie won't get mad with me when I say this. She said that there were questions that we were asking last year about how they come up with these numbers that couldn't be answered at the time because it was just developed. It's in its infancy, but we're working with her. She's a great person to work with, and I think we'll get there. I attended a course earlier this year on how to get off of the unit assist list that was conducted by the School of Government. And if you don't know about our School of Government in North Carolina, we're blessed in North Carolina to have the School of Government. Other states don't have what we have in the School of Government. So when they put that out, I was quick to jump on that. And just because I want to know if there's something I'm not doing, let's do that and let's get this right. Because I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want the headaches. I don't want to be saying what we didn't do, who caused what. I want it fixed. I want to move forward, and I want to fly straight and, I don't want to say under the radar, but, we want things done right. And that's what we're doing. So for the staff that might be watching, I want you all to know I'm proud that you're stuck in there and you're doing the right thing, and we're going to get there together. So I thank everyone, thank the commissioners for your support. And y'all get home safely tonight. Thank you.
We'll begin to my right with the comments. Commissioner Whitaker.
Right. I'd like to say good evening to everyone, and thank you to all of our citizens for coming out and sharing your concerns and sharing your feedback. We do appreciate it, and also want to give thanks to staff who's present here as well and for the work that you do. Just looking forward to just ongoing conversation that we had in regards to our retreat, is trying to have some meetings and schedule those in our local townships so that we can get to our different districts and be able to have those more intimate conversations with citizens and engage in that question feedback and answer sessions like we did at the retreat. So definitely hoping that we look at putting that on the calendar pretty soon. Had an opportunity to participate and go to Rich Square Town Hall's meeting, as well as the Woodland Town Hall meeting, and I just appreciate the work that those towns are doing as they are in my district, but how we serve the whole county. But I did have an opportunity to attend both on the same evening, and just wanted to highlight the work and the commitment that those townships and the town commissioners and mayors and staff and citizens are doing. Few community highlights that I want to share. We had the Creasy community that had a wonderful cookout, which provided an opportunity for citizens to engage in fellowship, and that was such a beautiful thing, and so I'm definitely proud of the work that they're doing as well. I do know that the Woodland community is planning a type of fall festival, and more information on the date will be coming for that, and I do know that the Rich Square area is planning a fall festival as well that will take place on October the 24th. I also want to give a highlight to one of our local and our late pillars that passed on, Reverend Jonette Neal. There was a beautiful service that was held on yesterday where the youth came out in such a huge number to celebrate and honor her on yesterday, and I want to make sure that I give her honor as well. She was an awesome educator and an excellent youth pastor at Branches Chapel, and so I want to make sure that I shared that community highlight as well. Also giving honor to the late Miss Commissioner Fannie Green. Appreciate all that she did for the community, as well as the youth program that she had, and so we appreciate her family coming out on tonight. And again, just want to make sure that we echo the concerns of citizens. Had an opportunity to participate and speak at Macedonia AME on Saturday. Also had a chance to fellowship at Cool Springs on yesterday, where I had an opportunity to engage in conversations with citizens at both places and get feedback that I appreciated. And I did want to share with our fellow commissioners that Ms. Joyner did share some information in regards to the air quality, where we did see something that was in writing where that quality was not where it should be, and that N95 were recommended for those particular citizens in that area. So I just want to make sure that we keep an intentional focus on that and that we have more conversation. And she also shared with me about a documentary that's being that's going to be at the Cool Springs Bishop Welch Center at 5:00 p.m. That's going to take place as well, just so that citizens can get more educated in regards to that topic. But again, we appreciate our citizens, we appreciate your feedback, and it's just awesome to be in a county where we may have a difference of opinions, but we can also have quality dialogue. We can come to a common ground understanding, because at the end of the day, we want what's best for Northampton County. Again, I take pleasure and honor in serving you. If there's anything that I can do to serve you, just let me know. If it's an event that I can make, I will definitely do my absolute best to make it. But again, just want to highlight the wonderful work in our different districts, and also giving honor and a shout out to, I know the concerned citizens of Rich Square as well had opportunity to go to their meeting, and then I'll be also having some conversation in regards to the Creasy Center and that project, because I know the citizens are concerned and they want more updates about that, which is why I feel our local township meetings are critical. And I definitely want to thank Mr. Van and Dr. Phillips for following up on those updates and repairs to the restroom at the Creasy Gym. But that's a facility that's used, and I want to make sure as I get concerns that I pass those on. So I appreciate the updates that you guys gave me in regards to it. Again, thank you for all that you do, citizens, and thank you, staff. And I hope everyone have a wonderful, safe, and blessed night.
It's kind of hard to follow that, but so I don't have anything to say because you said it all, but
I'm telling you.
I
Great
do
job,
want,
Commissioner.
I do want to thank the staff that come out to these meetings and give us information. But I also want to thank all our employees. We're working towards getting the best employees of any county. So give us all a chance. It's going to take a little while, but we're in the right direction. And thank you for all your support. And we do listen to your concerns, and we're going to do our best. So have a safe trip. Thanks.
Commissioner Braun, next Taylor.
I'd like to thank the citizens for coming out tonight. I'm glad to see almost a full house. Thank you for not walking out. That tells me that you are concerned about what goes on in this county. And as long as I have breath in my body, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to speak out, and I am not going to be afraid. So I want you to know that as long as I'm here, I'm going to tell it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because I was elected to serve. I thought when you were a leader, you just had to put on a pretty suit and stand in the picture. Little did I know that the work that it takes to be a leader. But I thank God for leading the people of Northampton County every day. And I would like to thank you for allowing me to lead you. So again, remember, as my grandmother would say to me, every shut-eye ain't sleep, every goodbye ain't gone, and every how do you do just didn't get here. Have a good night.
Let the church say amen. My goodness, I don't know how I can follow that. I'll be brief. Thank everyone, and thank you so much for the audit findings. And again, thanks to all the hardworking staff and all the citizens here. And the documentary tomorrow, as I know, is The Smell of Money. And
Wednesday.
I'm sorry, Wednesday. Thank you so much, at 5 p.m. Thank you. And just want to say in honor to Fannie P. Green's funeral.
Absolutely.
And they said that you must say the P. You just can't say Fannie Green. You got to say Fannie P. Green. A lifelong servant here in Northampton County, had a beautiful memorial service at the Evangelistic Church of Deliverance. And glad to be participatory in that, along with other commissioners. And thank you so much, and we look forward to meeting the needs of our citizens here in Northampton County.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and also thank all of our hardworking employees of the county. We do appreciate what you do. And there was one more thing that's coming up this month. The 27th in Woodland, they're having a 5K fun run. The Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring it, so if anybody's interested, you can contact the Chamber of Commerce.
Can we walk?
You can walk too. Because if I participate, that's probably what I'll be doing. But thank everybody for coming out tonight, and drive safe. It is after dark now, and deer may be moving around, so. Also, I just found out Don Davis will be at the Memorial Library in Jackson. What time is that?
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Thank y'all for coming tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143, 318.11A4 EDC report, General Statute 114, 311A6 personnel, and General Statute 143.11A3 attorney-client privilege.
Got to get a second. I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion is carried. We'll be going into closed session.
All right. you, I see you.
Might want to do her first, just so she can get on out of here.